So when you're feeling low and you don't know why it is, and you ask anybody this question, because I get to talk to a lot of people, I have kind of general questions that I do ask at the start to get kind of an insight of what way a person is thinking, so that I can change it. So I need to understand what's the process that they're doing that's causing them to feel that way. How are you making sense of things? And most people don't know because it's unconscious. They'll say, I think it's this, or I think it's that. And usually they'll give you logical level thinking, but the problem's not logic, it's emotional. And there's stuff underneath the people's conscious awareness that they're not aware of. And I get to kind of look in, and the main thing that I could share with you that could probably help you to start changing in the right direction. And I want to keep it as simple as possible, because the way I do it can kind of look a little bit complicated when you're watching it, but I have to understand how to do that complicated stuff to uncomplicate people's lives. So the common patterns that I see in people that are kind of stuck in a low mood is they keep thinking about how they don't want to be. So imagine this. If you get someone to think how they don't want to be, or they're thinking about how they don't want to be, and they're talking about how they don't want to be, what's the picture that they have in their mind? If they're saying, I just don't want to wake up in the morning, and I don't want to be feeling anxious, and I don't want to be feeling like I'm a burden on everyone, I don't want. And they're holding that picture in their mind because they're talking about what they don't want. And the mind has to process that picture. And that's what they're holding in mind. So if you ask them this question, and it's interesting when you watch anybody that gets asked this question is, okay, that's how you've been. How do you want to be different? And they look a bit confused because they're searching inside and they never really think about how they want to be. They kind of have a vague description, but it's a vague description. It's like, I don't know. And they'll go right back into this way of thinking again. I just don't want to be feeling like this. I just don't want. Now they're back into what they don't want. Okay? If you want your mind to process a new way of being, you have to have a clear picture of how you want to be, not how you don't want to be. Because the picture that you hold in your mind about yourself is the best you're ever going to be. And it's very difficult for people when you ask them that question, because I have to kind of push them a little bit to the edge of their map and kind of indirectly kind of keep pushing it and saying, so what exactly, how do you want to be? So you're on the other side of the problem and you don't have the problem anymore. What way do you look? How are you feeling? Like, what way are you reacting? I have to kind of build a picture up. And the way I look at it is that I have a clear picture of how I want them to be. And I hold that in my mind, because if I have a clear picture of how they want to be, I'm more likely to be able to lead them there. So what I try to do is I try to get them to make a clearer picture, and it's very unfamiliar for them. And it's going to be unfamiliar for anybody that tries this. But if you're persistent at it and you're clear on, okay, this sounds like it could work, and it's going to be weird, it's going to be different, but I'm going to push through it. It's like going to the gym and you're just like, I'm just going to keep going, and it's going to be unfamiliar. But I know as soon as I get to that point where I lift that extra weight, it's not the 10 reps like this that makes you stronger. It's that 11th or 12th one where you're just, and you feel that something's changing. So that's the unfamiliar feeling that you kind of get. It's like a threshold. You're breaking past this unfamiliar feeling, and then it starts to become familiar. So if you keep making a clear picture of how you want to be, and this is how affirmations work in my opinion, is that someone makes affirmations and pictures of themselves having all of the things that they want to have in life. And the mind is very clever. It's constantly assembling reality and distorting reality, deleting stuff and generalizing stuff, and depending on your mood. So if you're in a low mood and you don't believe that you're going to have anything and everything's going to be bad and you're thinking about how you don't want to be, your mind's going to help you to find more of that stuff, because it's going to delete all the possibilities and all of the good things that are good. So as best you can, start trying to be an artist about your own pictures in your mind, and try not to think about how you don't want to be, and start making pictures of how you do want to be, and make them as clear as possible, and only talk about how you want to be. And it's going to be weird, because you're going to find yourself, yeah, but I just try not go back over that side of the river. You're kind of pushing yourself through the river, and on the other side of the river is how you want to be. And if you go back over to the other side of thinking about how you don't want to be, that's the side of the river that you're going to be living on, you know. So you have to kind of imagine you're pushing yourself through a river, and you're going to get onto the other side of the river, and you're going to see a clear picture of you how you're standing, how you're walking, how you're interacting with people, how problems don't even bother you. It's like, what way you walk is like, I'm walking tall, I'm walking with my chest out, and it's not real. But either is the picture that you're making inside your head of the bad version of you, how you don't want to be. They're just thoughts, they're just pictures, okay? And you're using the picture to stir up feeling. And as soon as you get the feeling, your mind starts assembling reality differently. And all of a sudden you start to see opportunities and possibilities, and things start to work out, you know. And when you're in that state, it's easier to not to have things wash off you. It's like water off a duck's back. It's like nothing bothers me. And it's being able to purposely stay in that image and keep it and push yourself and be disciplined about it. Because if you're not disciplined about it, you're just going to go all the way back over to your side and go, I don't know, can I just talk about how I don't want to be because it feels more familiar? And that's the image you're holding of yourself. And even trying not to think about it is not the solution, because you have to, if you're saying, I don't want to think about how I don't want to be, you have to think about how you don't want to be. It's a weird one, right? You can't not think about what you don't want to think about without thinking about it first. So people are constantly talking about how they don't want to be, thinking about how they don't want to be, and the mind's going, okay, I'll just keep, that's all I've got. And it's got these two pictures in the mind. And if I say to someone, how do you want to be? They've got this really clear picture of how they don't want to be, to the point where they can look at it and start crying and get upset because it's so vivid. And then if I say, how do you want to be? It's vague. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of happy or something. And I'm like, oh, come on, it has to be, you have to be more happy or something. It's like what you want for dinner, like you want food or something. You know, you have to be clear about the picture, because the mind's going, I can't really see that. Especially like even people when they're trying to lose weight, they don't have a clear picture of them being the weight they want to be. They keep thinking about how they don't want to be. And if you ask them to think about what would it be like if you lost all the weight and you were skinny and you were shaking hands and kissing babies, they can't really see it. But if you say to them, what would it be like if you were another 2 stone overweight, they break down crying. They can imagine that really clearly. They're just like, oh my God, I don't want to be like that. They've got that clear picture. So the mind is thinking it like this. Okay, I've got a clear picture of how you don't want to be, but this vague picture of how you want to be, can't process that, sorry. And that's just the way it is. The mind can't process a picture if you don't install it. And they're just pictures to stir up feelings in your body. So again, this is happening to pretty much everybody. And you have to kind of, because society is constantly bombarding us with all of this information, and you're trying to do this on your own, and then I'm coming along giving you more stuff to do. It's not easy, you know, but I have to kind of put it out there. If it's not out there, then you can't do it. So try it. It'll work for a lot of people. Some people it might not work for. Maybe I'm going to have to do a different video on something else that'll click with you. And I'm just going to keep shooting them out there. And they're working because people are starting to, you know, apply this simple way of thinking to their life. And once you start to get the gist of what I'm doing, then it becomes like me. I don't do too much in order to not feel anxious or to feel good. I'm just like not doing too much. I've uncomplicated my life. I know all of this stuff because I need to uncomplicate other people's lives. Make a clear picture of how you want to be, and no matter what, you know, really try this. Like, do your best. There's no pressure on you. Do your best to not think about how you don't want to be, because that's the picture you're holding in your mind, and your mind is very helpful, and it will just keep processing more of that because that's what you're looking at. Okay, so as best you can, make a clear picture of you on the other side of the river, walking. And if someone asked you, like, what's going on there? Like, how come nothing bothers that person? You'd be like, nothing bothers me. Like, nothing bothers me. What about other people's drama? It just doesn't bother me. You know, that's the way you'd be walking. And then your mind will go, oh, that's how you want to be. Now we're getting clear on it, and it will start to create those feelings. It will start to create those opportunities and possibilities. So I hope this video helps, and I'll see you in the next one.